Hi friends, let us study the third range of the Himalayas, that is the Shivalik ranges. And because they lie to the outermost side, these are also known as the outer Himalayas. Again repeating, how are the Himalayas? The Himalayas consist of the central Himalayas, the middle Himalayas and the Shivalik ranges. Each of these Himalayas is separated by the fault. We did this fault system was known as the Indo-Sangpo Suture Zone or ITSZ. This fault was known as an main central thrust, and the fault which lies between the middle Himalayas and the Shivaliks, that is this part of the Himalayas, Shivaliks, is known as an main boundary fault. So these are the what is important about the Shivalik. These are the youngest, no doubt. When the Himalayas were formed, the first Himalayas to form were the Great Himalayas. After that, the Middle Himalayas. After that, the Shivalik ranges. So no doubt, the Shivalik are the youngest of all the Himalayas, youngest of all the east-west mountain system in the Himalayas. So these are youngest of all the Himalayas. These are youngest of all the Himalayas. Separated from middle Himalayas. By main boundary fault. By a main boundary fault. They are separated from the main Himalayas or the middle Himalayas. They are by a fault which is known as a main boundary fault. Now, as you can see here in the diagram, the Shivalis are a series of continuous mountain system which run near the boundary of the Great Plains. Yahan se what starts from here what starts here is the Great Plains of India. So these are the regions of Great Plains of India, and all along the Great Plains of India we have the Shivalik mountain system. So the Shivalik are a series of a continuous mountain system which are in the series of a lower hills having lesser height, which run continuous until river Tista. At the river Tista, where the river Tista enters India and then Bangladesh as a tributary of river Brahmaputra, they are the series of broken mountains. So these are youngest of all the mountains. They run continuously for east-west direction. And we can write about the other feature of the Shivaliks is that the altitude varies from 600 meters to 1500 meters. They have the altitude which is varies from the 600 to 1500 meters. And now in this varying altitude from 600 to 1500 meters, that means we can say here they are not of a greater height. 600 se 1500 meter is not that big height. Some of the hills of the peninsular India are higher than the Shivalik ranges. Why? Because they have been just recently found in the geological history of the earth. Now the Shivaliks have been given different names, and this is what is important for you from the exam point of view. They have been given different names. For example, they are known as Jammu Hills in the Jammu and Kashmir region. They are known as Jammu Hills. In this part, they are known as a Jammu Hills in the Jammu and Kashmir region. In the Jammu and the Kashmir region, they are known as Dundwa ranges in the Uttarakhand region. In the Uttarakhand and UP Nepal border, they are known as the Dundwa range in Uttarakhand and UP Nepal border. But what is more important from your exam point of view, They are known by different names in Arunachal Pradesh, and the names in the Arunachal Pradesh are Dafla, Miri, Abhor and Mishmi Hills. Now do open your atlas. After I finish this, I will show you which page of the atlas here. But do draw this. How they are known? They are known as a Dafla, Miri, Abhor and Mishmi Hills. They are known as Dafla, Miri, Abhor and Mishmi Hills. In the state of an Arunachal Pradesh. So the in Arunachal Pradesh, in the state of Arunachal Pradesh, the shiwaliks have been given different names. That is the Dafla, Miri, Abhor and Mishmi. Now here is the question which comes. The UPSC will ask you to arrange this hills in north to south direction, and you know how the direction is from north to south. It is given in the page of, if you are having the Orient Longman Atlas, just have a look at this page in the atlas, that is Dafla, Miri, Abhor and Mishmi on the Sikkim, West Bengal, Assam region. In this atlas, it is the page number 18, while in the Oxford Atlas, it is again the page number 18. So you will have to look at this diagram here, the Dafla, Miri, Abhor and Mishmi Hills, this diagram here, or you will have to look at this diagram here. What, for your understanding, I have made it more simple by drawing it here, that is this are Dafla, Miri, Abhor and Mishmi. But after this lecture, go open your page and mark this hills or under highlight this hills, so that in the end, a day before the examination, your entire geography will be revised through the atlas. I will cover most of the atlas point through this lecture series, and I'll make sure that entire geography is revised through the atlas. So the Dafla, Miri, Abhor, Mishmi are the parts of the Shivaliks. Now similar to the Karevas, how were the Karevas formed? Karevas were formed because the rivers, example Jhelum river, was flowing through the greater Himalayas. It got obstructed due to Pir Panjal range. It formed lake, but you remember that was during the Pleistocene ice age, and therefore the glacial lakes were formed, and therefore the clay and the sediments were deposited, resulting into formation of the Karevas. Now after the formation of the great Himalayas, then the middle Himalayas, when the Shivaliks started rising up, obviously the Shivaliks also obstructed the lakes. So these are the Pir Panjal range, this is the Dhauladhar range, these are the different ranges of the Himalayas, these are the great Himalayas. They run in more or less continuous direction from the Indus to this, and then we have the Karakoram range, we have the Kailas range, etc. I will do that as a map pointing. So the numerous rivers which were originating from the middle Himalayas got obstructed due to the coming up of Shivaliks. So the flow of this rivers got obstructed, and this rivers then formed similar to this rivers similar to the Pir Panjal ranges. The Shivaliks also obstructed the flow of river and resulting into formation of an temporary lakes in this region. But these lakes were not during the Pleistocene ice age period. These were the lakes which were formed due to obstruction of a flow of a river and had nothing to do with the glacier. As a result, when the lakes were formed, they deposited large amount of sediments along the foot in between the middle Himalayas and the Shivaliks. And they deposited large amount of sediments. After that, rivers could cut through the Shivalik ranges. The rivers went away, but the sediments remained. These sediments are formed all along the foothills of the Shivaliks, and these sediments are known as dunes in the west. The sediments are known as dunes in the west, or duars in the east. Dunes or duars. Now the question will be, what are dunes and what are duars? So before I rub this, let me revise. The Shivaliks are more or less continuous mountain system which is broken here by the river Tista, which flows into India as a tributary. It joins as a tributary of Brahmaputra and then enters Bangladesh. After that, the Shivaliks are known by different names. These are known by as Jammu Hills in Jammu and Kashmir. They are known as Dudhwa ranges in Uttarakhand, and in Arunachal Pradesh they are known as Dafla, Miri, Abhor and Mishmi. Again I am repeating, look how they are from south to north. These are Dafla, these are Miri, Abhor and Mishmi. How the question will be, arrange these hills from north to south or from south to north. So DMAM from south to north, or MAMD that is Master of Arts and Master of, you can say, Doctorate, or MD is the Master of, generally MD Medicine and all we are, so Master of Doctorate, so MA, MD from north to south. So this is Mishmi, Abor, Miri and Dafla Hills from north to south. These are the shiwaliks. Now what are dunes? The shiwaliks during their formation, shiwaliks during their formation, the shiwaliks during their formation obstructed the courses of the river, obstructed the courses of the river. Obstructed the courses of the river and thus formed temporary lakes, and therefore formed temporary lakes. Therefore, the temporary lakes were formed. Now, this after the rivers again drained away, or after the rivers eroded the shiwaliks, what did the river drained away? The water drained away, but what remained is the plains, alluvial plains were created, and these are known as dunes and duars. So, after river erosion, eroded the shiwaliks. Water drained away, leaving behind alluvial plains. Alluvial plains known as dunes in the west and duars in the east, known as dunes in the west and duars in the east. Example, Dehradun. So why the name is Dehradun? Because it is an alluvial plain which was formed by the shiwaliks, by the rivers which were obstructed by the shiwaliks. So example is Dehradun region. Example is Dehradun. And how these are Dehradun? Is it fertile or not? Yes, it is a fertile land. Why? Where did the basmati rice originate? Punjab or Dehradun? It originated in the Dehradun. Sometimes duars are also co-terminously used with the word tarai. You will understand what the tarai is in the plains, Great Plains of India. So these are also the fertile lands. Example is Siliguri, Darjeeling region, Darjeeling tea. So you see how fertile this land is. The Dehradun, as a fact you remember, basmati rice originated in the Dehradun region. Basmati rice originated in the Dehradun region. So what are the Shivalik ranges? Again I will revise this. Shivaliks are the youngest of all the Himalayas, separated from the main Himalayas by the main boundary fault. These are a series of continuous mountains which are broken by river Tista, and afterwards they rise upwards. These are known as Jammu Hills in Jammu and Kashmir region. They are known as Dafla, Miri, Abhor and Mishmi in the Arunachal Pradesh region. They are known as Dundwa range in Uttarakhand and UK, that is UP Nepal border. These are of a series of low hills. They are not very high, majestically high like Himalayas, because their altitude varies from 600 to 1500 meters. Obviously, they will be having hogback appearance. They will be having hogback appearance. The more important about in the Shivalik is dunes or duars. These are the alluvial, fertile alluvial plains or fertile alluvial sediments. Alluvial means formed by rivers. Karevas were fluvio-glacial. Dunes are only fluvial or alluvial, formed only by the rivers. Karevas were also glacial. So these are alluvial plains left down by the rivers after they drained away. This is what you have to remember, and they are known as dunes in the west and duars in the east. Example is Dehradun region. That means it is a plain land. It is a fertile land. How fertile it is? You have a proof here. Basmati rice originated in the Dehradun region. Geographical indication for Basmati rice is still for the Dehradun region. So this is all about the Shivalik ranges, and this is all about the Himalayas. In the next lecture, after we do the regional geography of Himalayas, I will do the entire revision of the Himalayas and the map pointing itself. Now, so we'll meet again with the Trans Himalayas and with the Purvanchal region. Till the time we meet again, thank you very much.